Imagine this. You've just finished another day. You've worked, you've struggled, maybe you've laughed, maybe you've argued, maybe you've achieved something small, or maybe you feel you wasted your time. The day is over, and like most people, you're tempted to shut your eyes, scroll a little longer on your phone, and fall into sleep without a second thought. But let me ask you this. How many of your days do you actually remember? How many of your days truly change you? And how many days slip away unnoticed, like grains of sand slipping through your fingers? The truth is this: if you do not stop to reflect, your days will vanish, and with them, your growth will vanish too. Here is a shocking reality. Most people live the same day over and over again and call it a life. They wake, they work, they consume, they sleep, and they repeat. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and before long, years have passed. But what if you could break that cycle? What if you could turn each day into a stepping stone toward the person you want to become? The secret is not found in doing more, but in seeing more. Seeing yourself, seeing your choices, and seeing what your day has taught you. And the way to see is through reflection. Tonight, as you listen, I want you to open your heart and your mind to a new possibility, that the end of your day can become the most powerful part of your day. Because reflection is not about regret, and it's not about guilt. It's about awareness. It's about growth. It's about looking back, not to feel pain, but to find lessons, gratitude, and purpose. The way you end your day is the way you prepare your soul for tomorrow. Let me tell you a short story. There was once a man who chased success for years. He worked long hours, built businesses, earned money, and seemed unstoppable. But every night he collapsed into bed exhausted, never asking himself what he had learned, never questioning if he was moving in the right direction. He was successful on paper, but inside he felt lost, disconnected, and empty. One day everything collapsed. His business failed, his health broke, his relationships shattered. It was only then, sitting in silence one night, that he asked himself, "How did I get here?" That night he began a new habit. Every evening, before sleep, he wrote down what went right, what went wrong, and what he wanted to change. Slowly, reflection gave him clarity, then discipline, then peace. He rebuilt his life, not by working harder, but by thinking deeper. He later said, "Reflection is what saved me. It gave me a second chance to live awake, not asleep." Now think of yourself. How often do you ask at the end of the day, who was I today? Did I honor my values? Did I use my time wisely? Did I love? Did I grow? Did I live? Or do you let the day simply end, as if it didn't matter? The way you end your day is a decision. You can choose to let it fade, or you can choose to capture it, learn from it, and build from it. And here's the promise of this journey we're beginning together. Over the next hour, I will show you how to transform your evenings into a source of strength. You will learn the mindset of reflection, the habits that make it stick, the courage to face your failures honestly, the power of turning insight into action, and the clarity of connecting your daily review to your long-term dreams. By the time we finish, you'll realize that reflection is not just a quiet ritual. It is the foundation for change, growth, and a life of meaning. So tonight, don't think of reflection as a burden. Think of it as a gift. Think of it as the last 5 to 10 minutes that can change the next 12 to 16 hours of your tomorrow. Imagine closing your eyes at night, not in confusion or exhaustion, but with peace. Imagine knowing that you didn't just live today, you learned from today, you honored today, you captured today. That is what reflection gives you. As we go deeper, I want you to remember one thing. Success is built in silence, in small moments that no one else sees. Reflection is one of those moments. No one applauds you for writing in your journal at night. No one cheers when you pause to ask yourself hard questions. But these hidden practices are what shape the person the world will eventually see. Don't underestimate the power of ending your day with reflection, because it is in those quiet minutes that tomorrow's greatness is born. Let this be your invitation. Tonight, you begin a new chapter. Tonight, you take control of how you end your day. And as you do, you'll begin to see the truth, that each day, no matter how ordinary, carries lessons waiting to be discovered, and victories waiting to be celebrated. Your life is not just the big moments, the graduations, the promotions, the awards. Your life is your days, and reflection is how you make each of those days count. The question now is this: are you willing to pause, to look back, and to learn? Are you willing to end your day, not with mindless distraction, but with mindful reflection? If you are, then stay with me, because the journey you're about to take will not just change your nights, it will change your life. The first and most important foundation of ending your day with reflection is your mindset. Without the right mindset, reflection can feel like a chore, or worse, like an invitation to dwell on mistakes and regrets. But when you shape your mind correctly, reflection becomes a powerful tool for growth and peace. So let's begin by exploring how you can build a mindset that transforms the simple act of looking back on your day into an experience of strength, clarity, and transformation. Think of your mind as the soil of your life. Every thought you plant takes root, every belief grows into actions, and every action eventually becomes your results. If the soil is poisoned with negativity, your results will reflect that. If the soil is fertile with awareness and positivity, your life will bear fruit. Reflection is the daily act of cultivating that soil, of pulling out the weeds of doubt, fear, and failure, and planting the seeds of gratitude, learning, and hope. The first step in shaping your mindset for reflection is to understand its true purpose. Too many people believe reflection means sitting in judgment over themselves, punishing themselves for what they did wrong. That's not reflection, that's self-destruction. True reflection is not about beating yourself up, but about lifting yourself up. It's about asking, what can I learn? What can I carry forward? What can I let go? Consider some of the most successful thinkers and leaders in history. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, ended his days writing in what we now call meditations. His reflections were not filled with self-pity or blame, but with questions, lessons, and reminders to live with virtue. Benjamin Franklin had a nightly ritual where he asked himself, "What good have I done today?" These practices shaped their character and their decisions. Notice how their reflections were focused not on regret, but on awareness and intention. That is the mindset you need. So how do you build this mindset? Start with 3 truths. Reflection is not punishment. It is a gift. Reflection is not about yesterday. It is about tomorrow. Reflection is not weakness. It is strength. When you carry these truths in your mind, the act of reflection becomes lighter. Instead of avoiding it, you will crave it because it gives you clarity. Instead of fearing it, you will welcome it because it brings peace. Let's make this real for you right now. Close your eyes for a moment and replay your day. Don't judge it, just watch it like a movie. See yourself waking up, moving through the morning, talking to people, working, laughing, maybe feeling stress or frustration. Notice the flow of your day. Now ask yourself, what moment today made me smile? What moment tested me? What did I learn about myself today? These are simple questions, but they open the door to awareness. They help you see your day not as random chaos, but as a teacher. And here's a secret. Every day is a teacher. Some days teach you joy, some days teach you patience, some days teach you humility, and some days teach you resilience. But if you don't stop to reflect, you'll miss the lesson. You'll repeat the same mistakes. You'll forget the small victories. You'll live blindly instead of consciously. This is why the mindset of reflection matters so much. With the right mindset, you see challenges as lessons, not curses. With the right mindset, you see failures as feedback, not final verdicts. With the right mindset, you see ordinary days as stepping stones toward extraordinary growth. Now let me give you a practical exercise to build this mindset. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I grateful for today? What lesson did today teach me? What will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. 3 simple questions. Gratitude shifts your mindset toward positivity. Lessons shift your mindset toward growth. Plans shift your mindset toward action. If you practice this daily, your brain will begin to associate reflection not with guilt, but with empowerment. I'll give you an example. Imagine a student who struggled in class today. Without reflection, he might just feel stupid or discouraged. But with reflection, he writes, "I'm grateful that my teacher explained things patiently. I learned that I need to prepare earlier. Tomorrow I'll spend 20 minutes reviewing before class." Suddenly his mindset shifts. The same event that could have crushed his confidence now fuels his growth. That is the power of reflection with the right mindset. And here's another important point. Your reflection does not have to be long. It can be as little as 5 minutes. The key is not length. The key is consistency and intention. Your mindset shapes those intentions. If your intention is to grow, even a short reflection will carry great value. Let's end this section with a powerful thought. Your mind is like a mirror. If it's fogged with negativity, you cannot see clearly. Reflection is the act of wiping the mirror clean each night so that you can see yourself honestly. When you see yourself clearly, you can choose better. And when you choose better, you live better. So tonight, when you prepare for sleep, remember, reflection is not a heavy burden. It is the gentle act of honoring yourself. It is how you say to yourself, I matter. My day mattered. My growth matters. And when you believe that, your mindset will transform, and with it, your entire life will begin to change. Now that you understand the mindset behind reflection, the next step is to transform it from a concept into a habit. Because here's the truth. One reflection won't change your life. One journal entry, one night of asking deep questions, it can feel powerful, yes, but unless it becomes consistent, the impact will fade. Growth is not born from one action, but from repeated actions stacked over time. That's why you need habits, and even more importantly, you need discipline. Think about the way we already live. You don't need to remind yourself to brush your teeth. You do it automatically. You don't think twice about checking your phone. You do it instinctively. That's the power of habit. When something is repeated long enough, it no longer requires effort. Reflection can become just like that, a natural part of how you end your day. But here's the challenge. Most people are too tired at night. They think, I'll reflect tomorrow, I'll journal another time, I'll do it when I have more energy. But discipline isn't about doing what's easy. Discipline is about doing what matters even when you don't feel like it. The beauty is that reflection doesn't require hours. It can be 5 minutes, and 5 minutes of reflection is enough to change how you wake up tomorrow. So how do you build the habit of reflection? You use 3 keys: simplicity, consistency, and association. First, simplicity. Don't overcomplicate your nightly reflection. You don't need to write pages and pages. You don't need to analyze every conversation or every decision. Start small. Write down 3 things. 1 success, 1 lesson, 1 intention for tomorrow. If you want more, you can always add more, but the key is to make it easy enough that you never skip it. Second, consistency. Choose a specific time for your reflection. The most natural time is right before bed. Place your notebook and pen next to your pillow, or keep a reflection app ready on your phone. Make it part of your night routine. The same way you brush your teeth before bed, you reflect before sleep. The same way you turn off the lights, you write your last words for the day. Third, association. This is one of the most powerful techniques in habit formation. Link your new reflection habit to something you already do every night. For example, after brushing your teeth, you immediately sit down to write in your journal. Or after setting your alarm, you immediately open your reflection notebook. This linking creates a mental chain, so reflection becomes automatic. Now, let's talk about discipline. Because in the beginning, habit is not automatic. It takes discipline to repeat it. Discipline is the bridge between starting and succeeding. When you don't feel like reflecting, discipline whispers, do it anyway. When you're too tired, discipline says, 5 minutes is enough, but don't skip. Every time you choose discipline over excuse, you strengthen the habit. Eventually, you won't need to force yourself anymore. It will be natural. Consider how world-class athletes train. They don't train only when they feel motivated. They train daily because discipline is greater than motivation. Reflection is your mental training. If you do it only when you feel like it, you'll reflect maybe once a week. But if you apply discipline, you'll reflect every night, and that consistency will reshape your life. Here's a simple example of a nightly reflection habit you can adopt today. Sit quietly for 2 minutes. Replay your day in your mind. Write down 3 wins. Even small ones count. I finished my work project. I helped a friend. I stayed calm in traffic. Write down 3 lessons. What could have been better? What did you learn about yourself? I procrastinated too much. I reacted with impatience. I realized I need to prepare earlier. Write down 1 action for tomorrow. A small, clear step. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. That's it. 5 minutes. Over time, this 5-minute ritual compounds into wisdom, confidence, and direction. Now imagine this. A person who ends every day without reflection versus a person who reflects for just 5 minutes each night. After 1 day, the difference is invisible. After 1 week, still small. But after 6 months, the second person has written nearly 200 reflections. They have 600 wins recorded, 600 lessons learned, 200 actions planned. Their mind is sharper, their habits stronger, their confidence deeper, While the first person still wonders why life feels repetitive, the second person feels growth every day. That's the power of habit. And remember this: habits are not just about action, they shape your identity. Every time you reflect, you reinforce the belief, I am someone who learns. I am someone who grows. I am someone who honors my life. Over time, that identity will change the way you see yourself and the way you live. So tonight, when you're tempted to skip reflection, remind yourself it's only 5 minutes. 5 minutes that will shape your tomorrow. 5 minutes that will multiply into wisdom over years. 5 minutes that will keep you awake in a world where most people live asleep. Build a habit, use discipline, and watch as your nights transform into a foundation for your best days. When you begin the practice of nightly reflection, one of the most powerful shifts you'll notice is how it helps you face your failures and fears. These are the two things that most people try hardest to avoid. We run from failure because it hurts our pride. We run from fear because it makes us feel weak. But here's the paradox. The very things we avoid are the very things we must confront in order to grow. Reflection is the tool that allows us to face them with courage and transform them into stepping stones. Think for a moment about how society treats failure. From the time we're children, we're often taught that mistakes are bad. In school, wrong answers are marked with red ink. In work, errors can mean embarrassment or even punishment. Slowly, we develop the belief that failure equals shame. But in truth, failure is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have, if you are willing to reflect on it. Without reflection, failure just stings. With reflection, failure instructs. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine if he had seen each attempt as a defeat instead of a lesson. The light bulb would never have been invented. Athletes do the same. They watch replays of their losses, not to suffer again, but to see what went wrong, to learn, and to come back stronger. Artists and entrepreneurs, too, often keep journals of their setbacks, studying them until the patterns become clear. When you reflect at night, you create a safe space to look at your failures honestly. Instead of hiding from them, you write them down. For example, today I wasted 3 hours scrolling on my phone. Today I raised my voice at someone I care about. Today I didn't finish the task I promised myself. Writing these truths might feel uncomfortable, but they are the first step to freedom. Because what you face, you can fix. What you hide controls you. Now let's talk about fear. Fear is a natural human emotion, but too often it paralyzes us. We fear rejection, so we don't try. We fear failure, so we don't begin. We fear judgment, so we stay silent. Fear shrinks our world until it is smaller than our potential. But when you reflect each night, you can bring those fears into the open. You can name them, and when you name them, you weaken them. Try this simple technique during reflection. Write down one fear you felt today. Maybe it was fear of speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it was fear of failing an exam. Maybe it was fear of being vulnerable with someone you love. Write it clearly, I was afraid of. Next, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen if I faced this fear? What is the best that could happen if I overcame it? By reframing your fear in writing, you strip it of its power. It becomes smaller, less overwhelming, and slowly, night after night, you train your mind not to avoid fear, but to face it. Reflection also helps you replace fear with courage. Once you've written down a fear, follow it with one action you can take tomorrow to confront it. For example, I will share one idea in tomorrow's meeting. Or, I will spend just 10 minutes starting that project I've been putting off. Small steps, when repeated, build confidence, and confidence is the antidote to fear. Here's something important to remember. Failure and fear are not enemies. They are signals. Failure signals what doesn't work. Fear signals where you need to grow. Reflection is how you decode those signals. Without reflection, you just feel pain and anxiety. With reflection, you feel direction and clarity. I want you to picture two people. The first person fails at something today and goes to bed angry, embarrassed, and defeated. They bury the feeling and distract themselves until sleep takes over. Tomorrow they wake up with the same unresolved pain, the same hidden fear, and the same habits that caused the failure. Nothing changes. The second person fails too, but before bed, they reflect. They write, I failed at this today. It hurt, but I learned that I need better preparation. Tomorrow, I'll spend 20 minutes preparing first thing in the morning. They also write, I was afraid of speaking up, but tomorrow I'll push myself to say just one thing. They go to sleep lighter because they've turned failure into a lesson and fear into a plan. The next day, they wake up stronger. Do you see the difference? The first person repeats the cycle. The second person grows out of it. There's a quote I want you to remember. Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. Reflection helps you see that most of your fears are smaller than they appear. They are shadows, not monsters. And failure, instead of being a dead end, is actually a doorway. You simply need the courage to step through it. So tonight, when you reflect, don't only write about your wins and gratitude. Write about your failures. Write about your fears. Face them on paper so they cannot control you in silence. This is not weakness, this is strength. The person who can look their failures in the eye, who can name their fears, and still choose to move forward, that is a person who cannot be stopped. If you do this night after night, you'll discover something extraordinary. Failure no longer scares you, and fear no longer holds you. They become teachers. And every night, through reflection, you attend their class, you take their lessons, and you rise a little higher. Reflection at the end of the day is not only about looking back, it is also about preparing yourself for the breakthrough actions that will move you forward. If you stop at awareness, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, fears, and failures, you are only halfway there. The true power of reflection comes when you translate insight into action. That is when reflection stops being passive and becomes a force for transformation. Let's think about why so many people remain stuck despite reading books, attending seminars, or hearing motivational talks. They absorb knowledge but rarely act. Knowledge without action is like a lamp hidden under a blanket. It has the potential to shine, but illuminates nothing. Reflection, if not followed by action, can become the same trap. You write, you think, you gain clarity, but your life stays the same. That's why this section is about turning nightly reflection into a launching pad for immediate breakthrough action. One of the simplest yet most effective tools you can apply is the 2-minute rule. It says, if something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. During reflection, you might realize you've been avoiding a task, replying to an email, preparing your clothes for tomorrow, writing a quick note of appreciation. Instead of carrying that task into the next day, you can act right away. By doing it instantly, you build momentum and prove to yourself that you're capable of taking action, not just thinking about it. A step beyond this is the Pomodoro Principle, working in focused bursts, usually 25 minutes followed by a short break. Reflection helps here too. Let's say you end your day realizing you procrastinated on studying, working on a project, or exercising. Instead of scolding yourself endlessly, set a simple action for tomorrow. I will do 1 Pomodoro session in the morning on the task I avoided. That small, clear step transforms reflection into progress. Breakthrough doesn't come from huge leaps taken once a year. It comes from consistent, small actions repeated daily. Reflection gives you the clarity to identify which small action matters most. For example, in your nightly journaling, you might write, I wasted too much time scrolling today. The breakthrough action is not to vow, tomorrow I'll never touch my phone again. That's unrealistic. Instead, you might decide, tomorrow before I check my phone, I will complete 1 important task. That's small, doable, and powerful. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. Imagine you've been ending each day with reflection, followed by 1 concrete breakthrough action. Tonight you realize you fear public speaking, so tomorrow you decide to share 1 comment in class or at work. Another night you reflect that you haven't been moving your body enough, so you commit to a 10-minute workout. Another evening you recognize you've been neglecting your relationships, so you text a friend to ask how they're doing. Small, consistent actions guided by reflection compound over time. After 1 year, you are more confident, healthier, more disciplined, and more connected. That is the hidden power of reflection. It doesn't just change your thoughts, it changes your trajectory. Reflection also helps you choose the right actions. Without reflection, you might waste energy chasing distractions, but by looking honestly at your day, you can spot the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Ask yourself during reflection, what action tomorrow would make the biggest difference in my life? Not the easiest, not the most comfortable, but the most meaningful. Write it down and commit to it. That becomes your breakthrough step. Let's ground this in real stories. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, once said she was at rock bottom before her success. Each night she reflected on her struggles and used those reflections to push herself to keep writing, even in the face of poverty and rejection. Her breakthrough action was simple but powerful. Write one more page. Over time, those small nightly commitments turned into books that changed the world. Or think of athletes. After losing a game, a basketball player might reflect on missed free throws. Instead of just feeling regret, their breakthrough action the next day is to practice 100 free throws before leaving the gym. Over weeks and months, that turns a weakness into a strength. Reflection without action is regret. Reflection with action is growth. Here's an exercise you can try tonight. After writing about your day, ask yourself, what is one thing I learned about myself today? What is one small action I can take tomorrow to apply this lesson? When will I take that action? Be specific. Don't write vague promises like, I'll try to be better. Write, at 8 a.m. before I check my phone, I will spend 25 minutes working on my project. This clarity turns reflection into a contract with yourself. Another useful technique is visualization. At the end of your reflection, close your eyes and imagine yourself taking tomorrow's action. Picture it clearly. You waking up, feeling resistance, but then pushing through and doing it. Feel the satisfaction of completing it. This mental rehearsal prepares your mind, making it easier to follow through when the moment comes. Remember, breakthrough does not always mean something dramatic. Sometimes the most life-changing breakthroughs come from the smallest shifts. Reflection is where you find those shifts. It is in that quiet moment at night when you're honest with yourself that you see clearly. This is the step I need to take. And then, tomorrow you take it, so let me leave you with this challenge. Tonight, don't just reflect, decide. Write down one action you will take tomorrow that moves you closer to who you want to be. Then, no matter how small, do it. That is how reflection transforms your nights, your mornings, your days, and eventually, your entire life. Every great journey needs a destination, and that's why one of the most powerful parts of ending your day with reflection is reconnecting with your goals and dreams. Without goals, reflection becomes directionless. Without dreams, discipline feels empty. Reflection is not only about examining the past day, but also about shaping the future you want to build. Each night, you have an opportunity to align yourself again with the life you truly desire. Think about this. Every single successful person you admire, whether they are an entrepreneur, athlete, artist, or leader, didn't just stumble into success by accident. They had a vision of what they wanted, even if it was blurry at first. Reflection allows you to revisit and refine that vision daily, making sure your actions line up with the bigger picture. When you end your day with reflection, take a few minutes to ask yourself, am I living today in a way that moves me closer to my dreams? Sometimes the answer will be yes, sometimes no. Both are valuable. If the answer is yes, you strengthen your confidence and motivation. If the answer is no, you identify the gap and can plan tomorrow's steps to close it. A useful method here is the SMART goal framework. Specific, define clearly what you want. Instead of writing, I want to be healthier, write, I want to run 5 kilometers without stopping. Measurable. Choose goals you can track. Not, I want to read more, but I want to finish 12 books this year. Achievable. Challenge yourself, but don't set impossible standards. Growth happens in the stretch zone, not the impossible zone. Relevant. Make sure your goals truly matter to you, not just what society tells you to want. Time-bound. Set a deadline, because goals without timelines are just wishes. Reflection is where you evaluate your progress on these SMART goals. At the end of each day, ask, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goal? What can I improve tomorrow? Over time, this habit creates incredible alignment between your daily actions and your long-term dreams. Visualization is another powerful tool during nightly reflection. After journaling about your day, close your eyes and picture your dreams in vivid detail. See yourself achieving them. If your dream is to start a business, imagine walking into your own office, shaking hands with your first customer, seeing your product being used. If your dream is fitness, imagine looking in the mirror a year from now, stronger and healthier. Visualization during reflection imprints your dreams onto your subconscious mind, which then influences your decisions without you even noticing. But goals and dreams are not just about personal success. Reflection helps you go deeper. Why do I want this? Ask yourself, is it for recognition? For freedom? For contribution? For love? Understanding your why is what keeps you going when motivation fades. When you reflect on your goals at night, reconnect with that deeper reason. This emotional connection gives you the energy to push through challenges. Music can amplify this practice. Try listening to calm, inspirational background music while writing your goals and visualizing your dreams. Music has the power to stir emotions, making your reflection feel more alive. You're not just thinking about your goals, you're experiencing them in your heart. That emotional intensity is what makes your brain believe, this is real, this is possible. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone who dreams of becoming a writer. Each night, they reflect on whether they wrote that day. Some days they wrote, some days they didn't. But during reflection, they don't just count words. They remind themselves of the dream, publishing a book that inspires others. They visualize holding that book in their hands, seeing their name on the cover. That nightly connection to the dream gives them the strength to keep writing, even on days when they feel tired or uninspired. The same applies to relationships, careers, health, or personal growth. Dreams are the fuel. Reflection is the ignition. Without reflection, dreams fade into vague hopes. With reflection, they stay alive, burning brightly in your mind. Here's a simple nightly practice. Write down 3 categories: today's progress, tomorrow's step, future vision. Under today's progress, list what you did that contributed to your goals. Under tomorrow's step, write one specific action you'll take next. Under future vision, describe your dream as if it's already real. Doing this consistently will train your brain to link today's actions to tomorrow's dreams. Most people overestimate what they can do in one day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. Reflection protects you from that trap. By checking in daily, you prevent discouragement from slow progress. You realize that even small wins add up. And when you visualize your dreams, you remind yourself why the small, sometimes boring tasks matter. They're building something extraordinary. So, as you end your day with reflection, don't stop at reviewing your mistakes or writing down your gratitude. Take it further. Use that quiet time to breathe life into your dreams, to sharpen your goals, and to set tomorrow's step. Because when you connect your reflection to your vision, you don't just end the day with peace, you end it with purpose. As your day draws to a close, reflection should not only leave you with lessons and plans, but also with an explosive sense of renewal. A call to change, a reminder that tomorrow is a blank page waiting for you to write on it. This final stage of reflection is about tying together everything you've explored. Your mindset, your habits, your failures, your actions, and your goals. It's about ending the day not with regret or heaviness, but with clarity, determination, and hope. Think of your reflection practice as a journey each night. You begin by calming your mind, reviewing your thoughts and emotions. You analyze your mindset, check your habits, face your failures, choose your next actions, and reconnect with your goals. By the time you reach this final moment, you have gathered all these threads together into one strong, motivating message. I can begin again tomorrow. Stronger and more intentional than before. This is where you summarize your day like a storyteller. Write down a sentence that captures the essence of what today taught you. For example, today reminded me that discipline matters more than motivation. I learned that fear only grows when I avoid it. I saw that small steps, when done consistently, can create momentum. By closing your reflection with a clear message, you reinforce the main lesson of the day. This becomes part of your personal story, a story that unfolds one day at a time. The next part of this powerful ending is to craft a call for change to yourself. This isn't a vague wish like, I'll try harder tomorrow. It's a strong declaration. Tomorrow, I will act with courage. Or, tomorrow, I will protect my time and focus. Or, tomorrow, I will be kinder to myself and others. When you put it in strong, active language, your subconscious mind receives it like an order. And when you wake up in the morning, you carry that order into your actions. Reflection also gives you a chance to release the weight of the day. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you fell short of your goals. That's okay. At night, you don't need to punish yourself. You need to release it. Tell yourself, today is done. I forgive myself. Tomorrow I rise again. Carrying guilt into the next day only keeps you stuck in old patterns. Reflection is about learning and letting go, not self-criticism. To make this moment even more powerful, use music as a backdrop. Put on a track that builds in intensity, soft and gentle at first, then rising into something grand, something that makes your heart race a little. As the music swells, imagine your future self, the person you are becoming because of these nightly reflections. See yourself 1 year from now, stronger, wiser, more disciplined, living a life that once felt out of reach. Feel the energy of that vision. Let it inspire you to commit again. You can also speak your final reflection out loud. Words have power when spoken. Say something like, "This day has ended, but my journey continues. I am growing, I am changing, and I will not give up." Hearing your own voice declare this truth cements it deep inside you. Finally, close your reflection with gratitude. Thank yourself for showing up to this practice. Thank the challenges for teaching you. Thank tomorrow for the chance to begin anew. Gratitude softens your heart, grounds your energy, and ensures you drift into sleep with peace instead of stress. When you practice this powerful ending consistently, you will notice that your nights no longer feel like wasted hours of worry or distraction. Instead, they become sacred rituals of renewal. You'll wake up each morning not dragging the weight of yesterday, but stepping forward with purpose. So remember this final message. Your day does not end when you go to sleep. It ends when you choose to learn, to release, and to recommit. Each reflection is a chance to close one chapter and begin writing the next. Your life is your story, and every night is your opportunity to hold the pen again. Don't just end your day. End it with power, with clarity, and with the courage to keep writing your own destiny.